Hey everybody, it's time for another vlog here, Vlogmas, here at the Because of Me Network. And I figured today I would do a little bit of a Q&A on just some 90s stuff that, defines me as a person and why I like 90s stuff so much. So we're going to start with question 1. I think the first movie that I saw that stuck with me was, I don't know. I mean, I saw a few movies in the cinema, but the one that stuck with me the most actually was Jurassic Park. I think it was really, really good. It was really, really scary. It was a fun movie, and it had dinosaurs in it, and I love dinosaurs. Who doesn't love dinosaurs? So yeah, probably Jurassic Park. The state of independent music. I think the British indie scene and the American indie scene kind of, if you put the Venn diagram together, the circles don't touch. They're two very, very, very different scenes, and that really jarred me because there's some great bands that I hadn't heard of when I got over here, and consequently, there's some great bands that nobody over here had heard of that maybe they should have heard of. So, you ask anybody over this side of the world about Ocean Colour Scene, and very few people will know what you're talking about. Same if you go to the UK and ask people about Bush, for example. So it was just the state of the independent music scene. Plus, there's a lot more country over here, and I'm not a big country music fan. The game I played the most of, we just did a playthrough of it, was Championship Manager 94 End of Season Edition. It does not hold up in any way, shape, or form. It is a product of its time, and the series spawned the Football Manager series. So I think that, it's kept the legacy going, but it is way, way, way beyond how it started, and I don't think that a 30-year-old football game holds up today. While my favorite album is definitely maybe by Oasis, I probably would pick the Master Plan by Oasis. I think that is their most complete album, and it's ironic that it's made up of songs that weren't good enough to go on the other records. But I think it's their best album. I would love to, if that's the only album I can listen to, there's some great songs on there. Not just the obvious ones like The Master Plan and Acquiesce, but I'm talking Underneath the Sky, Listen Up, Half the World Away, The Rocking Chair, So that would probably be my pick, would be The Master Plan by Oasis. Oh, my favorite snack. Probably Mars bars. I love a good chocolate bar. I love chocolate, and Mars bars was my favorite snack. My favorite drink would obviously be Lilt. Lilt is fantastic. You can't get it real much over here in the United States. They've got Squirt, but it's in and out of shops all the time, so I can't always get it. And something I absolutely could not stand was Skips. I can't stand anything prawn or fishy or anything like that. So Skips would be my pick for a snack I couldn't stand. Oh, a 90s trend, toy, or craze. I didn't follow too many trends because I was afraid that I'd be considered uncool if I did. Probably music was the most, trend that I got, or maybe football, as we say in America, soccer. That was what I was mostly interested in, was stuff like that. I mean, there was a time where I could name every starting 11 in the Premier League when I was about 13 or 14, I've gone from my obsessed days with that. But a trend I never really understood, Pogs. Oh, this is a tough one. A lot of people say DuckTales, but I'm gonna go with The Simpsons. The Simpsons was a big part of my childhood. The first 9 series of The Simpsons are some of the best TV in the history of television, and yeah, so I'd probably say the theme tune from The Simpsons. A movie that is completely underrated. Okay, that would be a movie called Quick Change. It stars Bill Murray, Gina Davis, Randy Quaid, Kirkwood Smith, Phil Hartman, Tony Shalhoub. It is a wonderful, wonderful comedy farce It's basically about a guy who robs a bank, and while the robbing of the bank was easy, the getting away was very, very difficult. And you'd have to watch it to get it. It is absolutely hilarious. Bill Murray's at his finest. You just have to watch it. If you haven't watched it, go find it. It is really, really, really good. And an overrated movie I've talked about on the podcast, Forrest Gump. Need I say more? No. Oh, this is easy. The Crystal Maze. Without a shadow of a doubt, it would be the Crystal Maze. It is a wonderful, wonderful game show. It had a wonderful weird host. We just spoke about this a couple of weeks ago on the 90s podcast with children's game shows. So the Crystal Maze would be the absolute... Because it was such a good game, and it was an hour long, and it played to the strengths of people. It was a team captain who anointed people, and they had to do physical challenge, mental challenges, just stuff like that, and it was really, really good, and I loved the end game as well. So yeah, the Crystal Maze, definitely. The next episode of the podcast that we are going to be doing is Home Alone 2 Lost in New York. And when I rewatched it, when we recorded it a while back, not only doesn't it not hold up, but it's not as good as, you can't separate it from its universe to say, well, if it was somewhere else, it would be good. It's a 4 out of 10, 5 out of 10 movie that chugs along on star power and nostalgia, even though the nostalgia was only 2 years old. And yeah, I just don't think that it held up in the way that it probably should have done, but it would be definitely Home Alone 2 Lost in New York. Oh, this one's simple. Look after your knees and your back. I have chronic back pain, and my knees are shredded, because of all the extra weight that I've put on because of my back. But yeah, look after your back, look after your knees, and you'll be all right. Oh, that's easy. That's Noel Gallagher. I am a massive Oasis fan, and I am also a big fan of singer-songwriters. And I think that if you write and perform your own material, you go up a notch in my book as an artist. And that's not a knock against people who don't write their material. I'm talking about like in a band or singer situation. You write your own stuff. And if you have help writing your stuff, that's fine. There are some people who've never written a song in their lives and gotten huge, huge fame. But for me, Noel Gallagher, he was charismatic. He can tell a good story. Whether or not they're true or not is up to debate. But he had a way of, pulling words together. Sometimes childishly, sometimes really, really good. And his best lyrics are on an album that he doesn't like, which is on Standing on the Shoulders of Giants. But yeah, it would be Noel Gallagher who had the biggest impact on my musical taste. The most 90s memory that I have, that's a good one. Who? Um, the only thing I can think of, I mean, I can't really think of anything for this one. The most random 90s memory that I have, that I once hit my cousin's Commodore 64 with a yo-yo. That's about it. That's as good as I got. Oh, I genuinely miss the VCR. I really, really do. I'm a big fan of physical media, and the VCR was the perfect machine up to DVR. But VCR, you could tape anything, watch it forever. It degraded the crap out of it, but it was an important piece of kit. And yeah, I genuinely, genuinely miss the VCR. But one that I'm glad is gone, to be honest. Oof, that's a tough one. Um, the clear phone. Landlines are gone to begin with, but you had that clear light up phone for somebody who doesn't like big lights and everything like that. That would probably be it. The clear phones that people used to have. That's a good question. I think it's a little pretentious of me. What is a piece of media that I wish more people would discover? The band Travis. Now, hear me out on this one, okay? They set in motion. They were the original soft rock kings in the UK, but they were so much more than that. They had some real heavy songs. They had some very, very angry songs. They just were more comfortable with an acoustic guitar and minimalist arrangement than they were playing hard rock songs. They have got some hard rock songs, but they never made it around the world the way they probably should have, which sucks because some of their peers, some of the guys who they inspired did. And, it seems like that's always the way. I mean, without Travis, there wouldn't be Coldplay, which is not a compliment for some people. But I think that Travis were criminally underrated. They were unfairly treated by the British music press. And they had 7 really good albums. I haven't listened to the last 3 in depth because I haven't been able to buy them, and I'm very, very late to the Spotify party. But their first album, superb. Their second album, iconic. The third album, they suffered from the third album hangover. And their fourth album, they tried to be political at a time when political strife was going around. But their fifth album was a return to form. Their sixth album is really, really good. It's up there with their first album. And their seventh album is as good as anything that they've ever done. So if you want to look for a band, you're in America and you haven't heard of them and you want something that's kind of relaxing but kind of melodic, look up Travis, okay? They're a Scottish band. And the bass player is married to Brave. So there you go. All right, I think that's it for this episode. If you have answers to any of these questions, I want to post them in the comments below and see if you have answers for them, okay? And put them in the comments and we will go over them. But until then, have a good night. See you tomorrow. Take it easy, everybody. Bye.